They're addicted to it, to the point they stay until they die, like Mitch McConnell. Like, nobody's seen Mitch McConnell. I mean, I think it's easy to decide the man is dead.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying that Mitch McConnell is politically finished. And honestly, she sounds more convinced of it than Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, who doesn't seem especially eager to replace McConnell, even though many people believe it's time for a change. We're going to get into all of that in just a moment. But first, I want to show you a funny clip from TikTok creator Adam James, who runs a series called Turtle Watch that's completely focused on Mitch McConnell. Take a look at this clip, and then we'll dive into what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say.
Is Mitch McConnell? Find out in the latest installment of my new hit series, Is Mitch McConnell Alive? No. Turtle Watch, day 37. Let's turn to fellow Kentucky Senator Rand Paul for an update on McConnell's condition.
Tell us what you think about McConnell's absence. Do you think he needs to put out a video instead of just a photo?
All right, groundbreaking stuff from Senator Rand Paul, who is an ophthalmologist by trade. But he's not actually a licensed ophthalmologist anymore because he let that licensure lapse and then created his own licensing organization to stay an ophthalmologist or some shit. Either way, he fucking knows better. At this point, everybody involved with the situation is committing federal crimes. Clinically speaking, as a physical therapist, I can tell you, there's no way he's still alive. He's not doing rehab. If he were doing rehab, he'd be well enough to call into a news station, do a press conference, a video call, something. They are literally covering this up to try and prevent Andy Beshear from appointing a Democrat to take his place. That's all this is about. And all of this info is very helpful in trying to answer the question, is Mitch McConnell alive? No. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Even if Mitch McConnell is still alive, the bigger issue is that he doesn't appear to be able to do the job. If you stayed away from work for weeks or even months and no one could reach you, how long do you think you'd keep your position? Most people would probably be replaced within a day or two, yet Mitch McConnell has remained in office despite those concerns. Now let's take a look at what Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is saying. Is he actually making any effort to push for a replacement, or is he staying on the sidelines? We'll get to what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say in just a moment. But first, I want to show you Beshear's comments so we can compare the two side by side.
Your boss, like anybody else out there who works, an explanation of what's been going on and when you'll get back. And that's all we're asking for from the senator. It's been reported that he's had 17 and 20-minute conversations with different individuals. So call into a news station for 5 minutes. Put out a short video. And it's not just me. Thomas Massey is asking for the same thing. We all want him to be okay. But when you're in these jobs and there's just this rampant speculation all over, just a little bit more to assure people would be.
There are really a couple of things Andy Beshear could do in this situation. He could go to the hospital, rehab center, or wherever Mitch McConnell is reportedly staying and simply say, I'd like to see him for a few minutes. I just want to check on him, see how he's doing, and get some idea of when he might be able to return to work. Some people will immediately bring up privacy, but this isn't about asking for medical records. It's just about requesting a conversation. As the governor of Kentucky, you would think Andy Beshear has enough influence to at least speak with someone at the facility, especially since the state helps regulate these kinds of institutions. And when it comes to privacy, this isn't the same as someone working at a bank, an accounting firm, or a retail store. Mitch McConnell is a public official who is supposed to represent the people of Kentucky and the American people. So the public has a legitimate interest in knowing whether he's able to carry out the job. No one is asking to see his medical records because that would clearly violate privacy laws. But people do deserve to know whether he's alive, whether he's capable of serving, and when he expects to return to work. I don't understand why Andy Beshear hasn't taken a firmer approach by saying, Mitch, you've got 48 hours to speak with me, whether it's by phone, on Zoom, or in person. Otherwise, I'm going to move forward with appointing someone to temporarily fill your seat. He could then hold a press conference, announce a temporary replacement until McConnell returns or an election is held, and send that person to be sworn into office. If Republicans tried to block that move, it would create a major public showdown in Washington that would be covered everywhere, and many voters might see it as Democrats simply trying to make sure the job gets done while Republicans stand in the way. From a political standpoint, that could end up helping Democrats heading into the next election. But with that said, let's move on and see what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say.
Politicians, many of them are there for a career. They are there. They are planning to stay there for as long as possible. They love the power. They love the fame. They love the, oh, hello, Mr. Congressman. Let me get the door for you, Mr. Congressman. You know, they love all of that. They're addicted to it, to the point they stay until they die, like Mitch McConnell. Like, nobody's seen Mitch McConnell. I mean, I think it's easy to decide the man is dead, but then you can also look at the other side, like Elaine Chao. It's very likely that Elaine Chao is some sort of Chinese asset that is married to one of the most powerful senators in the United States Senate. This is the easiest thing to look at. Right. And so when I say many politicians are easily blackmailed or easily captured, it's because they go to Washington, D.C., they're away from their families, they're away from their home, they're away from their community, they're away from everything that made them who they are. They're in a city that is foreign, a city that is not friendly, a city that's more like an international city, surrounded by massive pressure, press constantly every which way you go. And so it's a very lonely place, and it's easy for people to get captured into all kinds of things, whether it's drug use, sexual scandals, blackmail, financial entanglements that they shouldn't get involved in. That it's the easiest place to get captured by Satan.
Right at the end, she throws in the line about how she's starting to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that Greene is making some good points. But then she immediately goes in to talk about people being taken over by Satan, and that's the moment you're reminded that Marjorie Taylor Greene is still completely over the top. It's one of those moments that snaps you back to reality. But when it comes to her claim that Mitch McConnell is politically finished, compare the way she addressed it with what Andy Beshear had to say. In my opinion, Greene sounded much more aggressive. Of course, she's just a member of Congress and not the governor of a state, so you could argue she has less at stake than Andy Beshear. Still, we all know that if the situation were reversed and a Democrat had disappeared from public view for weeks or months with no one knowing whether they were alive or able to serve, Mitch McConnell would be leading the effort to replace that person immediately. He would simply say they need someone in the seat doing the job and push to install a Republican replacement as quickly as possible. That's why I don't understand why Andy Beshear isn't taking a tougher approach. At this point, are Democrats simply being too passive, or is there something else going on? Some people even wonder if politics has become more like professional wrestling, where both sides know exactly how far they're willing to go. If Andy Beshear has serious ambitions of running for president one day, he's going to have to show much stronger leadership, because I've seen countless comments online from people saying they don't think he has what it takes. They argue that if he's unwilling to force the issue or put real pressure on Republicans and Mitch McConnell, then he's missing an opportunity to demonstrate leadership. Let me know what you think in the comments. What should Andy Beshear do? Should he call a special election, appoint a temporary replacement, or show up at the hospital with cameras and demand answers? That's the first question. The second question is whether you think Mitch McConnell is still alive and able to serve. At this point, people have all kinds of opinions, but no one outside his circle really knows. Finally, what did you think about Marjorie Taylor Greene's comments? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.